I just did.
First.
No, you said first after I said I just did.
Well, you didn't hit the record button.
All right, well, nope, it's recording, so shh. I need 10 seconds of silence for noise removal purposes.
Do you want me to kick the dogs out?
That's not silence. All right, that's enough.
These dogs are noisy.
They are indeed. My chair is squeaky too. I need to fix this thing. I got to tighten some bolts or something. I don't know.
You got to get some WD-40, man.
I know. So yeah, anyways, this week's episode 150. I'm doing a little bit of pre-roll here. We're waiting for Agent ETA. He's pooping apparently, so he's late. We are starting late. And also Agent Redacted wanted to come on last minute, so we are also starting late because of that. Apologies to our live audience. Well, we got a lot of people here. So we have episode 150. Instead of doing our regularly scheduled program, instead for episode 150, I wanted to do just sort of like a fun chat, a look back at the show, what was our favorite episodes and all this stuff. And also, I especially wanted to open this one up to the live audience here on Discord. So if anybody during the show wants to come and have a chat and say hello, talk about conspiracies or whatever, well, let's wait till ETA is here for this one. But just raise your hand on the stage and we will let you on and you can have a chat with us, talk about us, whatever. Maybe your favorite episode or maybe something we haven't talked about yet. And we can, whatever, anything. It's, let's see, what is this? I got a new text message. Was this from ETA? But yeah, so anything and everything is open episode. So whatever you guys want to talk about, if you want to come up on the stage, that's fine. If not, we'll go over, the show, maybe talk about some behind the scenes stuff, talk about our favorite episodes, go over some of our previous case files briefly, very briefly, because, we don't want to go too into depth because that could take quite some time. Oh yeah, sorry, another text message here. I got to turn this thing on to silent because my phone is popping off right now, apparently. But yeah, so we are still waiting for ETA, and when he is done pooping, we'll hit the intro music and stuff. So normally we don't do sort of a pre-roll for that. I apologize for that noise you just heard, and my dog is attacking my microphone cable.
Yo, Toby, that's expensive.
Little butt.
$10 on Amazon, dude. Don't bite that.
Yeah. Oh, here he is. Agent ETA is here. What's up, ETA? Y'all ready?
Yep.
Did you hit record?
I did hit record just now.
Awesome. Okay, let's do 10 seconds of silence for noise removal purposes. Once again, for ETA's noise removal. All right, close enough. That should be plenty of time.
Can breathe again.
Well, we already got our noise removal, so we're fine.
Oh.
But yeah, we already hit record. I was talking while we were waiting for you. So episode 150, you ready, Agent ETA?
Hell yeah.
Hey, Agent Redacted.
Yes.
You want to do the intro this time?
Okay, what do I say?
You just say, it's the Alien Conspiracy Podcast. We are your hosts, Agent Redacted.
Okay.
And then the rest of us will come in. Who's going to go next? You, Agent Ether, and then ETA, and then I'll finish up. Okay.
So as soon as it goes, like that.
Yeah, do you know when to say it?
Dad will go like this.
Yeah, I'll point at you, but the song...
So just say it's time for the Alien Conspiracy Podcast.
Yeah.
With Agent Redacted.
It's the Alien Conspiracy Podcast. We are your hosts.
I got that. Let me
Agent
write that
Redacted.
down.
So you're going to be looking for or listening for the downward glissando, the boo, and when it hits the bottom note ish, that's when you come in. It doesn't have to be exact, just sort of ballpark. Close enough is close. What are you looking for on your phone there?
I'm writing it down.
Wow, you have the memory of a goldfish.
I know.
All right, here we go.
It's time for the Alien Conspiracy Podcast with Agent Anderson.
No.
Wait, what? Did I do it wrong?
Yes. Anyways, go ahead, everybody else.
Agent Ether.
Agent ETA.
And Agent Redacted. Come along as we examine UFO sightings, conspiracies, and all things strange. You can follow the show on Twitter at AlienConPod. We also have an email address, alienconpod@protonmail.com. We would love to hear from you. And don't forget to check out all of our other links on Linktree. See, I didn't have enough time to say everything there because, whatever. This week's episode number 150.
I can't believe you're on 150.
I know.
I've
It's
been
so
doing,
crazy.
Flies,
You've been
right?
doing the show for like, what, 2 years? 3 years?
I don't know, a long time. Yeah, I can't believe it. And it's thanks to you, dear listener, because if it wasn't for you listening, we would have stopped doing this a long time ago. So we really appreciate you guys showing up. Wow, we have quite the live audience tonight. It's the biggest live audience ever. Let's give them all a shout out at the beginning of the show here. Let's see, we have Owzy. See, I pronounced it correctly that time. Owzy Mima, Little P, Pimp Simpins, Tyrannosquatch, Zenith Void, Diamond, Dick Cheese McGee, Anorax High, Aquafina, Dark, I think it's supposed to be Dark Strider 1. It's DRKSTR 1. Dark Strength 1? I don't know. And Ambugaton. AMBUGATON. Ambugaton?
Fuck them all.
Ambugaton. I don't know. Maybe you can come on and help us pronounce that. Yeah, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us live. We normally don't have a very large live audience because, well, it's on Discord and it's not a platform typically used for live. And we do record on an hour. We're on the West Coast of the United States. And if you're listening to this and you're not on the West Coast, you're probably asleep by the time we're recording because it's pretty late for you, probably. So thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Episode 150. We don't have a regular topic planned for this week, as I said earlier. We are just going to talk about the show in general, just our favorite episodes, how it's gone this far, maybe talk about how the show started or whatever. And anybody in the live Discord audience is welcome to come along and talk with us. So just hit the raise your hand button and I'll try to keep my eye out for that. And I will call you up to stage to have a chat with us. So yeah, that's pretty much what we had for this time. Just sort of like a real chill episode. Just kind of hang out and talk about stuff.
Sounds really good.
Yeah.
I think we should get started with the poll that I put on social media.
All right.
We had 100 and I want to say 85 people vote on which episodes they like the best. And I put it on Twitter, Facebook, and in Discord.
185,000?
No, you wish. There was some confusion on Discord about what people were voting for.
Oh,
however.
yeah. So the Discord poll, if people spelled out under the poll, people used emoticons to spell out ETA1 puppy.
And I don't know which corresponds to what.
Yeah.
So I don't know who voted for what.
What does T stand for? I don't know. Nobody knows.
But it was more clear. It was more clear on
Stands
Facebook.
for tuberculosis.
ETA,
Yeah.
you will be happy to know that 30% of people polled said they like the episodes if you're in them.
Oh, hot damn. I appreciate that. I didn't know I was that likable.
Yeah, apparently you're Mr. Popular. We got 12% tuning in for the Blue Book Files, which is my personal favorite.
I love the Blue Book Files.
We've done what, 4 or 5?
5.
5.
I have yet to edit
Yeah.
number 5. I mean, I have it partially edited. I have it processed. I just need to edit it. But that'll be out soon. I've been busy, man. I've been on vacation. I took my kids to Discovery Kingdom earlier. That was fun. So it's a rough life.
Second, I've never seen in anything relating to Blue Book an actual Blue Book.
No, that's not how they name those secret projects.
It's stupid.
We also have 8% tuning in to listen to Agent Anderson as he reads the Flying Saucers Are Real series.
I am awesome reading that series, I must admit.
I
It is
like
a good series.
the intro music.
It's a fun song. I didn't actually like surf guitar before I wrote that song. I told that story before, right?
No, what's the music for your Flying Saucers Are Real book series?
Oh, I kind of stopped using that cue.
Why? Why would you do that?
I think I don't know. I use it. The other, that's another piece I wrote. It's like an ambient piece using what's called shepherd tones, where it always sounds like it's going up or down. It's like an optical illusion, but for your ear.
Do you have it on your soundboard?
I do. Should I play a little bit?
Play just a little.
All right, here we go. It's so
We can take a vote and see if people miss it.
there's different parts. So there's an ambient part in the background. It sounds like it's always going up, but there's also like just sort of weird sounds to make it sound kind of ambient, like you're sort of floating around in space or something. So here we go.
Yeah, see, I think it's very spacey.
Very spacey.
Sounds like the Portal soundtrack.
Yeah. See how it always sounds like you're going up?
Creepy.
Weird, right?
So you're not playing this anymore?
I think I did it for the Ruppelt series, and then I used it for part of the Flying Saucers Are Real, and then for some reason I got it in my head to where that's not a good idea to use that. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe
I'm gonna do a social media vote next.
Sounds like
maybe I'll start using it again.
Sounds like the Minecraft Disc 13, the broken one.
Kind of, but do you hear how it in the background it keeps going up like indefinitely?
Yeah, I know, but when this is playing, my head keeps like going to the tune of the 13 disc. Because like the chimes you used are similar.
A little bit, yeah. So that's it. I could just keep looping this forever because I made a pretty clean loop point, so it's hard to tell where the loop is even because there's no melody or anything. It just keeps going up and up and up. I should do a YouTube video. 10 hours of lost.
That might be very popular.
Yeah, right. You never know.
It actually might.
All right.
I've seen those like videos. It's like 10 hours of like just like rain noises and stuff like that. And
so
I guess it's soothing for some people.
The way the Shepard tone works is that in a nutshell. So you have, let's say you have an octave. Let's call it 2 octaves. So at the beginning, an octave is, let's say, from C to C. So it goes up an octave, right? You do that twice. At the beginning, it's very quiet, and at the end, it's very quiet. In the middle, it's the loudest, so it goes up in volume and down in volume. So you layer that a bunch of times to where you can't really tell where it starts. So at the very beginning, it's almost entirely silent, and at the very end, it's almost entirely silent. So it just sort of loops. It's weird. There's like a mathematical formula to it, I guess, to make it work the best. I'm not good at math, so I just kind of did it by ear. So it's not necessarily perfect, but it's good enough for what it is. It creates a really, really interesting auditory illusion, in my opinion. I really like the effect.
Well, continuing on with our poll, 27% of our listeners tune in for UFOs.
Nice. Yeah, that's so far all of the Patreon polls have gone towards UFOs. I've been doing like 2 choices. And I try to do one like UFO type and then like one conspiracy type or something else, to kind of mix it up. And every single time they vote for the UFO. So I guess those are the most popular topics.
Yeah, and I stand corrected.
It makes sense.
Yeah. I told Agent Anderson, I said, you should only do UFOs. But then when I did this poll, I found out there was a wide variety of subject material that people like to listen to.
Yeah, no, that's part of the fun of the show too, is that you don't have to get stuck on one particular topic. If you're doing a cooking podcast, you can only talk about cooking. But on this sort of a show, I feel like it's a little more open. We can talk about anything weird, whether that's ghosts, cryptids, UFOs, conspiracies, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty wide open as far as what we can talk about.
Mothman's ass.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those juicy glutes.
Oh, it was just Mothman Day. They
Yeah,
just
we
had
missed
their
it.
big celebration.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
We got to go over there one day. I want to take a trip.
Yeah.
An excursion to go experience the Mothman Day. That'd be sweet.
It's kind of far from me.
Yeah. I know for the both of us, but I mean, once at least I would like to, just to go over there and see it, experience it. It'd be cool.
Yeah.
Rather than just look at pictures online,
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
And the live cam. Don't forget the live cam.
Yeah, you too.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
You too can tune in right now and look at the Mothman's wonderful statuesque glutes in live. It's a live cam of just the Mothman statue, and it's like in the middle of a road. So they put it. I think it's in front of the museum, but it's in like the concrete island in the middle of a road. It looks like, so you can watch the statue, and you can also see cars driving by. It's the strangest thing. I don't know why you would have a live cam of a statue. It's so weird.
That reminds me, I'm subscribed to a YouTube channel. It's like Jackson something county in the middle of nowhere. And there's live streams, just random places in there.
Like of the landscape?
Like of the landscape or the town square.
There's a lot of cameras like that, like at the top of mountains or in the middle of forests.
I think we might
there's
have
even
one
some
actually.
like There's actually some like deep sea ocean cameras too. I actually kind of like those ones, to be honest. It's weird, but like to me, it's like I'll watch them every once in a while, just like to see if I can get like a glimpse of some undiscovered sea creature. It never happens, but it's still I like it though.
Yeah.
And then you have cameras of like on like birds' nests and stuff like that, like eagles and stuff like, but like that was kind of cool. Those ones are actually kind of cool because you usually see something. And then you also have like the live cams of like on at zoos and stuff, and those are kind of cool too, because you're gonna see something at least. You're gonna at least see the animal that you're trying to watch. But yeah, that's kind of a weird thing, isn't it? Like how popular that's become. Not that it's like a super popular thing, but yeah, like live cams are cool. They can be. And they can also be very boring too.
I could see how it could be very relaxing. I'm pretty sure there's actually some live cams for like the Hessdalen lights. If anybody wants to go see if they can find some of those, we did a case file about the Hessdalen lights where there are lights in the sky occasionally, and nobody is entirely sure what causes them. It's probably something natural, but who knows? They haven't figured it out yet. At least when I did the episode, they hadn't figured it out. Maybe they have since then. I don't know.
Well, speaking of cryptids, 14% of the audience tunes in for cryptids episodes.
Oh, we should do more of those. We've barely done any at all.
Didn't you want to do the ice cat?
Yeah, the Yule cat from Iceland. Yeah, that was.
I think we kind of have to at this point.
I know. I wanted to do. I haven't heard of it. I'd never heard of that thing before, and it was requested. Let me check my notes here. I write these. I notate all this to make sure. I try to give, sometimes I forget, but I try to, when somebody requests something, I try to give them credit. That one was requested by Pac-Man33 on Discord. So we'll have to get around to that at some point, maybe in December for the holidays.
That would be appropriate.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I haven't checked the poll. It should be over, but I'm pretty sure next week we're going to be doing the Maury Island incident. But let's take a look at some of our past case files. Does anybody have a favorite case that we've done? Agent Ether, go.
I'm actually trying to remember the first case I did with the group.
Yeah, I don't remember which one that was.
I don't remember either. I know the one on fluoride was pretty early on.
Population control, right?
Yeah, that was pretty early. Bill Gates and population control.
Yeah.
We'd had Power Hour with some cryptids.
Yeah, Cryptid Power Hour.
Definitely early on, but can't recall the very first.
Yeah, I don't remember either. It's all just kind of a blur.
At this point, it kind of seems like you've always been here,
So what you're saying, Ether, is that you
but...
don't actually have a favorite episode?
No, I actually really enjoyed the one on population control. I thought it was a really good back and forth. Everybody had a lot to say about it. And overall, I just thought it was a good episode. If somebody wanted to tune into our show and they didn't want to necessarily tune in for UFOs, they were more interested in conspiracy theories, I think I'd recommend that episode.
Yeah, that was a good one. And it has like actual like real evidence and stuff. Yeah. All right. How about you, ETA? Do you have a favorite episode that we've done so far?
Dude, I got a bunch of favorite episodes we've done. I mean, like, to be honest, like the first thing that popped in my head is actually one of our very early ones, which was the death and or murder of Kurt Cobain.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
And like that one was it's very like it was very important to me just because like Nirvana was such a big influence musically like in my younger years, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so like, and I feel strongly about that. Like I'm not saying like I don't want to say definitively, but I think there was some major tomfoolery and shenanigans there, and I don't think he killed himself. I really don't. And the main reason why I think that is because of that suicide note. How it's obviously like in two different styles of writing. And then, their lawyer, I forget her name now, it's been so long, but she found, Courtney Love had left a backpack at her house with like some evidence that inside it that like she looked like she was trying to practice at writing writing something, I don't know, writing in the way that he did, or whatever. Like she was trying, I don't know. It's freaking weird, dude. Freaking weird. And also maybe there might be a part of me that just like refuses to accept because, like I said, Kurt Cobain and Nirvana was such a big part of my life when I was younger I was a huge fan, still am a huge fan, of course, of Nirvana, but yeah, it's I mean, there's so many other episodes too, like when we did like Göbekli Tepe or even like DB Cooper. I mean, I definitely love the alien stuff and the cryptids. Obviously, I'm a fan of Mothman, but it's this is the reason why, like one of the many reasons why I love doing this podcast, because we do we do a lot of different stuff. We've done like our episode on like for example the Bohemian Grove, and El Chupacabra and everything. Like we have some different stuff going on here. It's not just aliens, and I love talking about aliens, but it's nice to switch it up. We've done a lot of different topics, and that's why I think like it keeps the interest fresh. Very fresh, so fresh and so clean.
Yeah. Speaking of Kurt Cobain, Agent Redacted, you want to tell everyone what happened on Halloween?
Oh yeah. So for Halloween, I went as Kurt Cobain.
Oh really?
Yeah, I ended up getting like 6 pounds of candy. It was pretty fun, but here's the thing: my cousin also went as Kurt Cobain.
Yeah, they didn't. His cousin lives
really?
in Southern California, and they didn't plan this out, but they both just so happened to dress as Kurt Cobain, like randomly. It was really weird.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even listen to that much Nirvana. The main reason I picked the costume is I was like the same height and eye color and stuff. And I basically just wear jeans and a Nirvana shirt, and I just get a bunch of candy.
Yeah, there was that, and there was also the fake cigarette.
Yeah, he had fun with that. Yeah.
Yes, I'd been told several times I look like a homeless man, like an old homeless man out of the corner of people's eyes.
He brought that to school, which I can't believe he got away with.
Well, it's Halloween.
I know,
you get a
but
pass during
still.
Halloween. But yeah, that Kurt Cobain case is really interesting. I think the smoking gun in that case, other than what Agent ETA said, but the real smoking gun is that he had more heroin in his system than you could actually, like you would fall down dead from that much. And he committed suicide twice with the heroin and with the shotgun. And I've never heard of that before with somebody committing suicide using two different methods. It just doesn't make any sense. It's unheard of. You're not going to jump off a bridge and shoot yourself in the head on the way down. It's stupid.
Right.
So, I mean, but that was one of the really fun cases. I agree, because going into that one, I thought it was complete nonsense. I was like, this is stupid. It's going to be nothing. And then when I actually looked into it, I was like, holy crap, he was murdered. That was a wild case.
Yeah, I kind of had the same vantage point going into it, or perspective was a better word probably. But it's absolutely, you're absolutely correct. And like the amount of drugs he had in the system, heroin, right? Even for an addict that is like, doing heroin every day and shit, like it was still way more than the body could ever handle. So it's like, I don't, it does not pass the sniff test, once you actually get into some of the information, that is available.
Go listen to Beans by Nirvana, and you'll understand that he's definitely a drug addict, like by every stretch of the imagination.
Oh yeah, we know he definitely was.
Well, yeah, there's no doubt about that. Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Agent Redacted? You haven't been on that many episodes, but do you have a favorite episode?
In total, I think this is the third one I've been on, so probably Action Park, I guess.
Action Park was actually pretty popular. We had a couple of people give feedback, and they said that was a good episode.
That was Agent Redacted's idea. He's the one who wanted to do that episode, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I like the part where, what was the guy's name? Gene. Wait, hold on.
Gene.
Yeah, I want to Google it real quick just to be sure.
It's just insane.
Just to be sure I don't mess it up. We do so many of these dang cases, it's easy to forget. Easy to forget the details. I just want to make sure I get his name correct.
Well, Agent Redacted, I also have the memory span of a goldfish too. So, like sometimes, like it takes me a little bit of warming up to remember some of this stuff. Because we've done a lot of episodes now, and we're going to do a whole lot more. But sometimes, like the details are they're hard to hold on to, I guess, for some stuff. But like to me also like the 9/11 stuff is like I find it super important, because that is something that I do believe was like a black flag event. You know what I mean? I think there was some really weird shit going on there, and there's some actual solid evidence to prove that, I think, especially with like, the stock market, like, we talked about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very, very weird, odd, and does not pass the sniff test.
Well, we'll get into that in a bit maybe, but so it's Eugene Mulvihill. So yeah, I was close. Mulvihill. Yeah, Eugene, not Gene, Eugene. So I was close, only a couple digits off there. But yeah, so my favorite part from that case is where he pranked.
Oh God,
he did that prank with his employee, where with the cattle prod, where he remember he hired somebody, or he had one of the employees dress up as a customer and like skip the line or whatever, like they weren't paying to get in, and then he cattle prodded them and pretended like they were dying or something. Like it's just so crazy. The whole place is just absolutely insane.
Oh yeah,
it's like
so many shenanigans.
The even better part is when he was hiring him, he acted like he's like, oh my God, I just can't take this anymore. And like he shocks the shit out of himself in front of the employee with the cattle prod.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's just this fake.
I mean, the action park in reality was just so wild that they made a movie about it, and the movie actually tones down what really happened there. Like it was off the hook.
That's crazy.
It was off the hook. We had teenagers drinking and driving go-karts on the freeway.
And over 50 miles per hour.
We had a looping water slide where people were smashing their faces in and getting their teeth embedded in it. We had people, I don't want to make light of this part of it, but we had people who were seriously injured and actually died there from the dangerous rides.
Yeah.
There were 6 total deaths.
Yeah, it was a crazy place, man. It was really, really off the hook. It was a fun episode, but also you kind of feel bad because of the people that died there, and you kind of feel, I have mixed feelings, because it was a wild and crazy time, and I wish I could have gone. But on the other hand, I wish those people hadn't died there,
Yeah, well, I think all of our listeners, if they reflected back on when they were teenagers, they're glad they were not in charge of a major water park.
That's kind of what it was like, we had Gene Mulvihill was basically like a kid with a lot of money, and he just grew up and he was still remained a child somehow. And and all the managers were like 18, 19 years old, the people in charge of the entire park. He didn't hire professionals, he hired kids to run the park,
Yeah.
So there's some excitement and discord. I guess people liked the out of body experience episode, where I have to say Kruger was spot on.
Oh,
Man,
yeah.
can he
Yes, he
tell a
was.
story?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and by the way, Kruger is stuck at work because of the holidays and all that stuff. So we're hoping he can jump on here eventually. He may or may not be able to make it. We don't know, but we're hoping that he can jump on. It'd be nice if we could get some of the previous agents who've only been on here momentarily, like Agent Locke or Agent Orange, but unfortunately they are unavailable. But that's one thing I was hoping we could do. Maybe for episode 200 we can get those guys to come on,
That'd be cool.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
all right.
I mean, yeah.
So my favorite episode is pretty much any episode where I go into it thinking this is going to be a bunch of bullshit, and then I look it up and I'm like, wow, there's actually some real evidence that this is real. So those are always my favorite ones. For example, like the Kurt Cobain case or the Britney Spears episode I did, stuff like that. But there's also a lot of UFO episodes where I go into it thinking this case is probably nonsense, and then I find out, well, there's actually something to it. There's like some actual real evidence here when you are willing to dig a little deeper than what you'll see on the History Channel or whatever, Not that those guys are unreliable or anything, but they don't necessarily present the best evidence, just the most sensational.
A lot of that stuff from the History Channel, like especially like the ancient alien type stuff, it's like sensationalized, you know what I mean? And like, I'm not saying that they are providing, false info. Sometimes it seems like it for sure, but yeah, they sensationalize things for the effect of getting more viewers and stuff, and exciting people, what have you. I'm more interested in like hard evidence, because that gets me excited, So, but yeah, it's one of those things where I think I'm kind of confused sometimes with the way that they present some information, especially when they're talking about like the pyramids and stuff like that, and like any like ancient like like a human site or, ancient civilization or what have you, and like they always try to bring it back to aliens, even though sometimes it just doesn't make sense in that way,
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still interesting, but
they do have some good stuff, they have some good stuff. They just present it in a very sensational way. But so other than that, my favorite episodes are generally, there's a reason why I chose the Michigan swamp gas as my first episode, because it's an excellent UFO case, like really excellent. But there are also a couple of other standout ones from around that time as well, like the Portage County UFO chase. It's hard to pick just one for me, but if I had to pick just one, it'd probably be the first one, the Michigan swamp gas.
You got a lot of listeners who've tuned in for that one. I think it's like 17,000 listens.
Yeah, I think what some people do is they'll catch an episode that, the algo lottery just presents them with the episode. They'll listen to episode whatever, and then they'll go back and start listening from the beginning, But it was a very different show back then, so that's probably not the best strategy, But
I liked the first episode because you had sound effects.
Yeah, sound effects.
So it was a pretty good episode.
And also the second episode, the Kelly Goblins, is a really fun case because it's one of those ones where, like, I don't think it's aliens, but it was something. Those people were freaked out by something, but it's just one of those ones where you're like, well, nothing makes sense. It's just a real mystery. Like, it doesn't make sense that it would be anything. Like, there's no explanation for it. And that's kind of fun, when it's really unknown.
Isn't it obvious? It's weather balloons. Duh.
Yeah. Obviously weather balloons.
No, it's a planet Venus.
Answer.
Yeah.
I'm actually really sad because I went back and listened to a few episodes where I wasn't on the podcast, and I'm kind of sorry that I missed them.
Well, we can always revisit a topic.
I suppose, but it's not the same.
It is, though. Because we have a new opinions and stuff. Like when I do this is one of the things I'm really glad about having other people on the show. Is originally I did this show I was thinking of just doing it by myself, like a solo show. I didn't expect anybody to actually listen to it, and I just thought, hey, I just talk about some UFO stuff, just as a fun little hobby podcast type deal. But all the time when we're doing topics, people will bring up stuff thinking about it from a different angle, and they'll think about things or point out things that I hadn't even considered, possible explanations or interpretations of the data or whatever, just different opinions. It's just worthwhile to have different opinions on the show because everybody comes at this stuff from their own perspective, It's not like I have some sort of, I guess, monopoly on the information. Everybody can look at the information and have their own opinion on it,
Well, that's why I like the Blue Book files.
Yeah.
Actually, because anybody can go online and look at them and draw their own conclusions from actual witness statements.
Right. Yeah, those are so cool. Those files are so cool to look through because, as you're reading through them, you're like, this is mostly, I'm sure there's some hoaxes in there, but mostly it's like people genuinely reporting something. There's a lot of meteors. There's a lot of stuff that's explainable. And there are some crackpot stuff in there too. I went over a case where somebody saw a UFO in his TV.
That was an awesome episode.
Yeah. Like, well, that guy needs to get more sleep. He's like, yeah, man, I've been sleeping,
Or like, were you on drugs, sir?
Right. Yeah. Well, you can actually kind of hallucinate if you haven't slept enough, or so I'm told. I've never hallucinated myself from lack of sleep, but from what I understand, it's possible.
Well, I actually did one time.
From lack of sleep or from drugs?
From lack of sleep. Well, a little bit of both. No, it was actually from lack of sleep. Many, many years ago, I was a diesel mechanic, and I was working on some trash trucks that were actually powered by compressed natural gas. And unbeknownst to me, while I was working on them, these trucks all had leaks and stuff, and I was breathing in compressed natural gas every day, pretty much.
Wow.
And so like the shop that I was working with, it was a good shop, but they didn't have gas sniffers, and we should have had gas sniffers for working on these trucks, but they didn't. And so I was like having like migraines and stuff, and like serious headaches, and it was keeping me up. Like there was a point where I went like, easily 3, 4, 5, like I think it was at least 4 days. 4 days where I didn't get like really any sleep at all. Like, and I started hallucinating, man. Like it was like reality wasn't there for me necessarily. You know what I mean? It was I got confused very easily. And it wasn't. I was driving back and forth to work, but I shouldn't have been. That's for sure. Luckily, I figured, we got it figured out and stuff. I started going to doctors and stuff, and like I was like, "What the hell is happening with me?" And actually, we figured it out, but which was weird that we. But anyways, yeah, I can say I've seen some stuff. It wasn't like full apparitions or you know what I mean. Like it wasn't like crazy but like it was like to the point where like I would just see like dots or like squiggly lines and stuff like that like towards the end of like when I was getting the least amount of sleep and stuff. And I guess that's a hallucination. Like I said, I wasn't seeing like full body hallucinations, but it was I was definitely seeing some stuff. It was just tricks of the eye, I guess you could say. Where like stuff would become very blurred, or like you'd see like splotches, and like I said, like dots and stuff like that. But it wasn't like crazy, but it sucked. I can tell you that much. Like the migraines were the worst, that's for sure. But yeah, luckily I got that figured out.
Yeah.
In short order. But yeah, that's my only experience with that kind of stuff, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I'm reading through the live show chat right now in Discord, and there's actually it's interesting. I wasn't looking at this earlier, but so for example, Tyrannosquatch says the 9/11 episode is huge for me because I was a sophomore in high school. It was the first huge event of my knowledgeable life. So I have a lot of feelings about it. So glad you guys have covered it. Yeah, and one of the things we talked about on that show that nobody else has really talked about because nobody knows about is the Dark Overlord hacks, which is still to this day, like nobody even knows about those, which I find kind of interesting because I thought it was a pretty big
like it's
deal.
Been suppressed.
Yeah, I think it was definitely suppressed. I saw it being suppressed in real time. And that's why like, again, this is one of those topics where I was like, it's all bullshit. It's nothing. And then when I saw it being suppressed in real time, stuff being literally erased from the internet, I was like, wow, they wouldn't do that unless they were hiding something. They, if it was nothing, they would just ignore it because there would be no point. But yeah, I had sort of hoped on doing like, I wanted to do like an episode every year for 9/11 because there's that much material to cover for that case where we could just do it every year indefinitely and never run out of stuff. But we didn't do one this last year because I was like, well, I think we pretty much made our point. And also it's like, it's kind of a bummer, because like,
yeah,
people died, it's not a fun case. I like to do fun cases or interesting cases or mysterious cases, but cases like that, or like Operation Paperclip or Operation MK Ultra, where it's just kind of a bummer, those are not the fun ones for me, where actual people are getting hurt, or, in the case of Operation Paperclip, where Nazis are getting off scot-free just because they have a skill that we want.
Yes, so, I remember that episode because I didn't want to be on it.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, no, thank you.
Yeah. No thanks.
Or even like Shinrikyo or Shinrikyo, was that? Yeah. Shinrikyo, right?
Yeah.
That was kind
Japanese
of a sucky. That was a sucky story, like because a lot of people got affected by that in Japan, and
right.
And, like those guys were kind of, they're just evil,
Yeah.
Freaking pure evil almost,
And then, we try to have fun with it, but if you have fun with a case like that, then you kind of look like an asshole a little bit,
A little bit.
Yeah. What's this? Oh, look at Adrian Redacted. That is my favorite GIF, that Kermit GIF. You can respond to just about anything with that GIF. It's hilarious. I love it. Like somebody loses their job, you can send them that Kermit GIF. And they'll know,
it'll brighten up their day.
Yeah, they'll know that you're being sarcastic, and it'll cheer anybody up. That's just such a good GIF. I love it. It's awesome. But one case that kind of ties, I think it sort of ties into 9/11 in a way, is the TWA Flight 800. That's the one where witnesses saw a streak of light come up from the water and it hit the plane. It was basically a missile, and that's one where the CIA made that video saying, not a missile. And it's like, so obviously that it was hit by a missile, and yet they were somehow able to convince the nation, despite all the evidence and witnesses coming out and saying, yeah, they came and tampered with the crash wreckage, and it's just so suspicious. And yet they were able to convince everybody that it was not a missile and it was just a fuel tank blew up, despite that being absolutely ridiculous. And they worked. And that was sort of like, that was before 9/11. And I think that was sort of the turning point where they realized, wow, we can get away with anything, literally anything. It doesn't matter what the witnesses see. We can get away with anything as long as we put it on TV and say that it didn't happen.
So Diamond says he actually thinks that's the very first episode I was on.
That might be, yeah. I think that might be,
one.
That might be your first one.
And I think that's how you convinced me to go on the show, is I was really interested in that specific episode.
Well, I didn't actually convince you to come on the show. So what happened was, when I was doing this show, Agent Ether was, we can call her a skeptic, or whatever. I think she never came out and said, but I got the impression she always thought these topics were a little bit weird. And she's like, you're doing a show about what? She's like, all right, just whatever. She's kind of rolling her eyes at me, kind of thing. But she finally listened to an episode with Agent ETA, Agent Kruger and I, and she heard how much fun we were having. And she's like, I want to do that. Can I come on the show? I want to come on the show.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I was like, okay, yeah, we're having a good old time. Yeah, you should come on the show. And it was good for me because if she's on the show, then we can tell the kids to be quiet, Agent Redacted and Agent Egg. We say, okay, you guys be quiet, go in the other room, and we can record in the living room. And I don't have to record out in that shed because it is cold out there. In the winter, it is cold, like really cold. And where I live, it gets sometimes below 20 degrees. And that shed, it's a tough shed. It's a nice shed, but it's not insulated. So I'm freezing my butt off out there in the winter. So if I don't have to do that, then I am all for it. Welcome to the show, Agent Ether.
1 year later.
Yeah. Thank you.
Worth it.
Thank you that I don't have to freeze my butt off anymore. So we talked about, that was a brief rundown. Let me see. Oh yeah, super brief rundown on our favorite topics, but we've covered quite a lot of topics on this show. There's so much we've covered. Before we move on to just discussing whatever random BS we discuss, is there anybody in the audience that wants to come on and talk about their favorite case? Case.
I already asked and they all have stage fright.
They'll have stage fright?
I made the whole room go quiet for like 5 minutes.
Oh, really?
Just come on.
Yeah, because either a case that we have talked about or maybe a case that we haven't talked about. Maybe there's something that you want to hear us talk about that's your favorite UFO case. If you don't want to come onto the stage, then just say it in Discord.
Yeah,
and
drop it in the chat.
Yeah, drop it in the chat and we'll discuss it.
Oh, we definitely always appreciate suggestions because that gives us more ideas for the show. It makes it easier for us also, as far as like picking a topic, because we'd rather do stuff that, the audience wants to listen to.
Right.
That's a better way of going about it, I think.
Yeah. And there are so many good UFO cases and cases in general, but when I decide the cases, I try to mix it up between well-known cases that, that you've heard on, stuff that you see on TV, whether it's, stuff like, Roswell, like Roswell type stuff, like the big cases. And I try to mix in stuff that nobody's ever heard of because there's a lot of cases out there with really good evidence that nobody's ever heard of, Mm-hmm. So stuff like the Bentwaters 1956, Lakenheath Bentwaters, one of my favorite cases. Most people, if you're not like really super into UFOs, you've never heard of the case, but it has really good evidence. It has multiple independent witnesses at multiple locations. It has many witnesses. It has it has actual radar data. And radar data is kind of better than like a photograph even. It's like really good hard data. And you have people who saw it, like you have that one where you had that pilot who saw it going under his plane while the people on the ground saw it going above them, and it was caught on multiple radars at the same time. It doesn't get any better than that, guys. What it was, I don't know, but it's a really good case. So, I mean, that's an example of some of the cases that most people have never heard of, but it has excellent evidence, better evidence than most cases. But for whatever reason, so I think the reason why some of these cases with really good evidence are not better known is because the skeptics can't come and say, oh, it was nothing. I mean, they tried, and Lake and Heath Bentwaters, they tried, but their explanations are absolutely ridiculous. But there's not really anything controversial to argue over. Whereas you have something like Roswell or Rendlesham, you can poke holes in those cases, and yet something appears to have happened. Like for example, in Roswell, which we haven't talked about yet, but we will get to it eventually, I'm sure. But one of the things, for example, in Roswell, the Air Force actually issued a press release saying we found a UFO. As far as I'm aware, that's the only press release ever released where they said, yeah, we found a crashed flying saucer. We got it. UFOs are real. It's here in our custody. And then they very quickly redacted that. You know, they very quickly turned around. Less than 24 hours later, they said, nope, we were just kidding. Sorry, that was fake.
Sorry.
So you have this case where there's something weird did happen there. What that was, well, we can discuss that on a later episode. But I mean, it's very controversial. There's a lot of witnesses have come out over the years that are clearly making it up. A lot of witnesses who seem genuine and witnesses in between. It's a controversial case. Whereas the cases that are lesser known are not controversial at all. You're like, okay, we have hard proof that something strange happened. We don't know what it is. And that's pretty much the end of the discussion. There's not really anything to argue about, you know? So I think that's why the cases with really good evidence are actually less known than cases with weaker evidence. Like Roswell, the evidence is pretty weak, in my opinion, compared to some other cases. Not that there's not evidence there. It's just, it's not a slam dunk like some of these other ones.
What episode did we do that was Canada's Roswell?
That would be the Shag Harbor.
Oh, that was a good one.
That's what I'm talking about. That's a really good case. Not as well known as Roswell. Much better evidence than Roswell, but not as well known.
Well, and you know what's crazy too is like even like myself, before I joined this podcast with you, like everybody's heard of Roswell, right? Like even if you're not even into aliens or whatever, like everybody's heard of that shit. But like before I got on this podcast with you, I was like casually interested in UFOs. I've always found it interesting, but I've never really gotten deep into it before, at least, you know. And then like the more and more we were doing these episodes, the more and more like, you know, we did some research and found out like to me at least, I was just like, holy shit, dude. Like there's something is happening here. So there's like, this is way more in depth than I ever thought it was. And I became more and more interested in it as the episodes go on, because like there's just so much evidence for all these different cases, and some of them are could be a little wishy-washy, some of the evidence, but there is other evidence that is like, to me at least, it seems like hard evidence that you're just like, how could you look past this and think nothing of it? You know what I mean? It's crazy. Like it's like I said, become more and more interesting for me as the episodes have gone on, you know. And I wasn't before a huge fan of alien conspiracies or what have you, but I am now. I'll tell you that much. I guess I was naive before, but now I have seen the light.
Yeah. Well,
you know,
and I'm still not convinced one way or the other 100%, but there's definitely something weird going on. What it is, we don't have proof of. So
yeah, no doubt.
Who knows? But I mean, there's an awful lot of cases that are kind of unusual, you know, like I don't know. The whole thing is just kind of interesting, you know, which is why I have a show about it. But yeah. Okay, so here's a comment by Kokichi. Did you guys talk about the flying saucer that landed in an elementary school in Africa and the kids played with the aliens?
Oh, I know that story.
That's
I don't think we have, right?
That's the one from Zimbabwe. I think that's one in Zimbabwe. Maybe not. I don't remember one from Africa where they played with the aliens. So
that's worth an episode, dude.
I'm going to have to look that one up, but I think there's one from Zimbabwe where
I don't know if it is, but
there's so the thing with this case is that all the kids pretty much reported the same thing with some variations.
Yes. A lot of consistency.
Some minor variations or whatever, but they all reported pretty similar, pretty much the same thing. But the thing about this was all of the adults said, "No, I didn't see anything. I don't know what you're talking about." But there was, so that case, I was sort of, I hadn't done a deep dive in it, but I was sort of on the fence about it or whatever. But there was a documentary that came out a couple years ago. I think it was The Phenomenon. Let me look this up. But they actually interviewed one of the school teachers who said in the documentary that said, "Oh yeah, I saw it. At the time I lied and said I didn't." I was like, whoa, hold on there. But the problem with this documentary, I think the documentary was called The Phenomenon. The problem with this documentary is it went over so much material so quickly that you're kind of like, well, hold on there. Like, I feel like the documentary should have been like 20 hours long instead of 2. It's like, well, let's circle back to that very, very important, critical piece of witness testimony that you just did for like 10 seconds and then moved on to something else. You're like, it's like one of those things. But yeah, so a witness, one of the teachers came on they said that, yeah, I saw it. So we have witnesses that were adults at the time saying it too. So you can no longer say the kids were all just imagining something or, mass hysteria or whatever. It becomes a little weaker of an explanation. When you have witnesses coming out many years later and said, yeah, I didn't want to talk about it. And so I lied and said, whatever, because she had no reason to say that, like this documentary, it's not like they have a huge budget. It's not like they could pay her, okay, here's $1 million and you can go on record and say this, who knows, maybe she wanted the attention, but it seemed genuine to me. But yeah, man, that's a good case. We're definitely going to do that one. I mean, it's on the list. It's just a matter of, there's so many good cases. It's hard to decide, but I'll expedite that one. I'll put that on the list. I have a very long list, but I'll put that on Zimbabwe, and I'll let's see. That was Kokichi who requested it, so I'll give them credit for requesting it. I'm making a notation here on my phone. I have a notepad on my phone where, if I run across a case I haven't heard of that I want to look into more, or somebody requests something, I just have a notepad with a long list of cases here so that, that's one of the things people will ask me is like, hey, will you ever run out of topics to do? I'll be like, no, never.
Nope.
Yeah, that is not going to happen. There's just so many good cases. It's just, yeah, we could do a case every day. If I had the time for that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if this is the only thing we were doing besides a regular job.
Oh, Kokichi says I pronounced their name correctly. Okay. Well, that is accidental.
Nice.
If you have listened to this show before, then you are well aware of our skills or lack thereof in pronouncing things. If we pronounce something correctly, it's probably just an accident.
Yep.
We do our best. I'll look it up sometimes, but other times I forget to look it up and I just completely butcher it.
Oh, we had one show we did. Oh, I think it was a Blue Book file where I was talking about the Air Force Base in Japan.
Yeah.
And I was trying to pronounce the name of the Japanese newspaper. And so I went to Google and I listened over and over again. And I tried to say it and I just couldn't wrap my tongue around the pronunciation. Like it just, in my head, I could hear myself saying it. But when I tried to actually say it, it was nothing like it. It was completely incorrect.
Yeah. I'm not sure about Japanese, but I have a friend who speaks Chinese, and Chinese is like a tonal language. So the same word, you can say the same word multiple ways using different tones. And like they tried to explain it to me, and I was kind of like, huh? Like, so I eventually I was like, oh yeah, okay, I can hear that. Yeah, I couldn't hear it. I was just saying I could just move the conversation along, I guess. But it's like,
well,
it's just
even Google,
I don't know.
Google Translate sometimes isn't always exact. You know what I mean? Like it's I've seen some flubs there too. It's not always exactly the way it's supposed to be pronounced. And also, I guess you have different dialects in any country. Sometimes you have different accents or what have you. So yeah, it's not always exact with Google Translate. Although I think it's usually pretty accurate.
Yeah, you can get some interesting results with Google Translate if you type out a sentence and then put it through a few different languages and then put it back to your native language, and you usually get something
A
vaguely
game of
resembling.
telephone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
Vaguely resembling the original message. So Zenith Void says, I think an interesting topic would be Chernobyl and the movies and such based off it.
Oh yeah.
If it hasn't already been talked about. No, I don't think we've talked about Chernobyl.
Oh,
I
I'd love
think
to
we-
do Chernobyl.
I think we mentioned it
We mentioned
briefly.
Yeah, I think in the
Yeah.
Nuclear Shenanigans and Tomfoolery part 1 and 2 episode.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. I think Agent Ether mentioned that she lived in Europe at the time and was in like the Fallout area,
Woohoo.
right? In Germany. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. And that's why Agent Redacted has 3 arms.
Comes in very useful.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So yeah, we haven't done anything in depth about Chernobyl. I haven't seen any movies about it either. So
There's some TV shows.
yeah, I'm not sure what direction that would go, but if there's movies and stuff, we could definitely do something like that.
There's also a couple horror
Yeah.
games.
Yeah,
is there?
there are, yeah. I haven't played any of them.
Well, even like what happened at Fukushima, after that like tsunami and stuff, in Japan, that was a pretty bad situation too. It wasn't quite Chernobyl, but it was bad also. I think that's like worth a mention at least. I don't know if we'll do a full episode on it, but we could definitely touch on it if we do an episode about Chernobyl.
I feel like it's been in the news lately because of Ukraine, right? That was the nuclear power plant where the Russians were occupying.
Oh, were they occupying it?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were. Yeah.
Why?
It was
It's
a
radioactive.
political move. I guess there's people there
It's
too.
not that
Huh.
radio. You can actually pay like it's $100 per person to go on a tour of Chernobyl.
Yeah,
Weird.
yeah, but they'll only let you spend a certain amount of time there though, because
Yeah.
there is still radiation there, but it's not. I mean, it's survivable.
Probably
Unless
not
you
the
go
most
down to the elephant's foot.
Probably not the most desirable vacation.
Nah, yeah, I agree with that. I would rather not. I'll just look at some photographs and some videotape of it, and read about it. I'd rather not go there.
Yeah,
you
well,
know?
Pretty sure for the tours, like you have to stay on a very specific part of the trail, and like most of the
Uh-huh.
time you're not anywhere near the power plant because lots of radiation there.
Well,
I hear there's
Russia
radiation
has-
in like the forests. Like I heard that Russia went through and dug in the forests and rolled in
Yeah.
with their tanks and
Chernobyl.
disturbed the nuclear waste. Like I'm not sure of all the details, but it was definitely in the papers.
Yeah, the tour's currently
yeah.
on hold because there is, Ukraine's in war.
Bronco Zach says Jimmy Carter stopped a meltdown and saved a plant in Canada. Really? I haven't heard that story. That's
Who's Jimmy Carter?
Sound
who's Jimmy Carter? Oh my God, our education system
What?
Is he?
What?
Is he like from Eastwood or something?
he's a cowboy? Yeah, he tamed the Wild West. Yes.
Jimmy- I think he's like
Oh,
an
Co-
actor.
Kokichi says that I hope I'm still pronouncing that correctly. It says, I wanted to add that I'm Peruvian. I enjoyed the Machu Picchu episode. Okay, sweet. Yeah,
oh
that's
hell yeah, dude.
we're hoping to go there next year. Actually,
Yeah, we're planning a trip to Peru next year, probably
Yeah.
later in the year, because we want to go there. We don't want to go there during like the rainy season and stuff. We want to be able to enjoy all the sights and stuff, So, oh hell yeah, brother, dude!
Yeah.
Like Peru is on the top of my bucket list, like my life bucket list. I want to go there to see some of those ancient megalithic sites. There's so much all over the damn place. There's a lot of sites in Peru that aren't even necessarily well documented, but are still very important. Like to me, like as far as ancient human history goes and stuff like that, and some of the ancient megalithic sites around the world, like Peru is on the top of my list at least. That's up there with the pyramids, where one of those places I need to go see before I die. I have to go see it. You know what I mean?
yeah. Oh wait, hey,
Yeah.
Diamond is raising his hand. I apologize, Diamond. I just now noticed that if you've been there for a while. So let me see. How do I get them on stage? Invite to speak.
You press Alt F4. That's the shortcut.
Oh, Alt F4. Okay. Welcome, Diamond, to the stage. What's up, dude?
Hello. I was just looking at the all the episodes, and I was curious, how did you come up with the Great Canadian Maple Syrup Heist? How did you come up with that one?
That was
So-
a fun one.
Yeah, that one was really fun. I actually saw that on an episode of it was a documentary I think on Netflix called Dirty Money Let me double check this, but
yeah, it was. We watched it together. Actually, you watched it, then you made me watch it.
yeah, I like that episode so much. I told Ether, I was like, you have to watch this. This is crazy.
And I resisted.
Absolutely crazy.
I was like, that sounds stupid. But it was actually, it was a good episode. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Because, dude, there's a black market for maple syrup. It's
I would have
unreal.
never known.
It's just random. I'm like,
Yeah.
huh?
There was a heist. They stole millions of dollars of maple syrup. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's like-
Could have
They got away with it for a long time.
yeah, it's like something out of like one of these dark comedies or something. It's insane. It's like Ocean's 11 with it's crazy. Ocean 11 with syrup. Syrup.
Kid.
They stole syrup.
Hey kid, you want some syrup?
It's crazy. That was a really fun case. Yeah, so I saw that on Dirty Money and I knew I had to do that on the show at some point because it was just too much fun.
That's just weird.
Yeah. I also, if you guys like that case, I also kept bugging. I don't know if it was because I kept bugging them, but one of the shows that's similar to us that I listen to is Alien Theorists Theorizing. They're actually from Canada, and they also did that, an episode on that, because I kept bugging them, and I'm sure that, maybe I brought it to their attention to hopefully that, I influenced them or whatever. I don't know. But they also did the Canadian syrup heist, and their version is also a lot of fun. So if you want to hear Canadians doing silly Canadian accents and things, we're not great at accents, but they're actually Canadian, so they
I have a Canadian friend. I told him about the episode, and apparently they never knew about it.
Wow.
So I showed him. Yeah. Really
yeah, it is
interesting.
So it is Dirty Money on Netflix, season 1, episode 5, The Great Canadian Maple Syrup Heist, and there's 2 seasons altogether. It's a good show altogether. It looks like they didn't do a 3rd season, and the 2nd season was shorter than the first, I guess. Or no, actually it's the same, 6 and 6. But yeah, it's a good show. They do a good job of talking about different things. Let's see,
I feel like if shows aren't wildly popular and they don't make a lot of money, then they get canceled, which is unfortunate. Even something that people enjoy and it has a good following, if it's not an absolute blockbuster, a lot of times it get canceled.
Yeah, Netflix
Firefly?
does that.
Yeah,
It's too
Netflix
bad,
is really bad about that.
Yeah, I think a lot of things get kind of like lost in the mix. Like,
Yeah.
even though they might be really awesome and really well made, what have you, or even just entertaining, there's so much content that comes out like on Netflix or even like Amazon Prime, and stuff like that. Like some of that stuff just it gets lost, it
yeah.
just
So-
didn't make a big enough impact,
Some of the topics they've covered on the show is the Volkswagen emissions scandal, which is really interesting. It's kind of depressing in some parts of it because they show how like they experiment on animals at one part, which kind of bummed me out. But other than that, it's a really interesting case. Let's see, there's something about payday loans, which was a real eye opener because I've never used payday loans. I'm like, wow, that should be illegal. There's something about Valent Pharmaceuticals, about money laundering, about Wells Fargo. That was fun. We actually, our previous house, we had a mortgage through Wells Fargo, and there were shenanigans, there's let's see, so about we don't want to talk about politics on this. We'll worry about that. There's more money laundering. Let's see, elderly abuse. This was actually Guardians Inc. season 2, episode 5. This is what you should watch if you're interested in understanding the depths of what happened with the Britney Spears case. This one's about elder abuse, but what happened to her is essentially the same thing, except she's not elderly. But it's shocking. Like if you watch that episode, you're like, how is this allowed in our society? Why do we allow this? It doesn't make any sense, and yet it's still happening as I speak. This is happening to. It's crazy. It's one of those things where it's just kind of depressing to watch because it sinks in. You're like, dude, there's not a damn thing I can do about this. It's one of those cases, man. And then there's let's see. Oh yeah, another one with and then the last episode in season 2 is like pollution in Texas, which is another interesting case to see how sort of, big business can influence politics to make something bad happen to the people that live there. And also why people who live there, some of them would go along with it. That's a really interesting case to help you understand like why sometimes this stuff can go on for a long time, because there's a lot of different moving parts to these things. So I don't know, really good show. I highly recommend it. Dirty Money on Netflix. Highly recommend it.
There's another episode that caught my eye. The Dyatlov Path.
Yeah, Dyatlov Path.
Yeah. Like we don't have like a solution. Is that the word I'm looking for? Solution?
Yeah, they're not sure.
Yeah, like we don't know what happened. And
there wasn't.
It just gets your mind going, get those gears turning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those situations. It's a big question mark, and obviously something very violent happened. And like there's plenty. I mean, there's evidence like there's some deaths there involved, and so that's one of those things where it's like, what the hell happened here? Like, there's really not enough evidence to give you like one definitive like outcome. You know what I mean? And
or
that's one of the things.
There's too much evidence.
Yeah,
all pointing in different directions.
Yeah, that was a crazy one. That one. That's another episode I really enjoyed, like doing the research, even though it was like sad, some of the stuff. But it's one of those things where you're just like, what the hell is happening here? Like what the hell happened?
Yeah,
I was trying to like strategize, like, okay, well, this happened here, so they must have went over here for a reason. No, that can't be right. Maybe they went, like, it got me. Confused.
I was confused too. It's like the way like some of the bodies were found and stuff, and like the evidence that was found. It's like this doesn't make sense. Like I don't know what the hell happened here.
I remember one of them like went up a tree or something.
Yeah.
There's
we tried our best. That's one of those cases where it's really hard to present all of the evidence. There's so much to that case. We did our best, but I don't think we covered all of the nuances. But my explanation for that case that covers most of what the evidence is, it doesn't cover everything. There's a lot that it doesn't account for, but I think the most likely explanation is that the Russians were apparently testing aerial concussion mines around that time, around that area.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll like drop a bomb and it'll detonate before it hits the ground with the intention of disorienting people on the ground. That could explain why they cut their way out of the tent, for example, because
it doesn't explain the tree part.
No, it doesn't explain the tree. It doesn't explain the missing tongue or the missing eyeballs. It doesn't explain a lot, but it does explain some of it. It explains more than any other explanation by itself. But again, it's definitely not a slam dunk. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you wouldn't go up in a tree to catch a mine. Now, would you?
No. Yeah, exactly. And also they would have climbed that tree. So let's say they were testing mines in that area. They would have dropped the mines. They would have ran in a panic. And then after they ran away, they would have climbed the tree after the mines were being dropped. So after everything was back to normal, now we're going to climb a tree for some reason, like why, it's weird. It doesn't make any sense. That's another one of those cases that's really, really fascinating.
Probably wanted to get a closer look at them, I guess, if they didn't know what they were.
Yeah. Right.
Weren't they like in like their underwear, basically? Maybe it's less cold up in the tree.
True. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Some of them were unclothed. A lot of them were wearing other people's clothes. That could be explained by something called paradoxical undressing, where I guess when you're freezing to death, you start to feel like you're like really hot. So you want to take off your clothes. And I guess other people would be like, okay, well, if you're not using that, I'm definitely going to use it because I'm freezing my ass off. Or I don't know, like if you undress at that point, that only, from what I understand, that only happens when you're almost dead. So you would undress and then you would just freeze to death. You wouldn't really put on somebody else's clothing. I don't know. It's weird, right? Like it's very strange. Very strange case. A lot of fun. I mean, I say that with an asterisk. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I don't mean it's a lot of fun because people died. I mean, it's a lot of fun to try
Very
to ponder
interesting.
what happened. It's a real mystery.
Like you're
It was
like a
swamp
detective.
gas.
Yeah, probably.
All
I
right,
got some
well,
swamp gas.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna go ahead and dip.
All
I'm
right.
out of here.
Thanks
Yeah.
for coming on, dude.
Yeah, thanks for coming
Yeah.
on. I really appreciate it. By the way, guys, Diamond is actually editing some YouTube videos and stuff for us, so check us out on YouTube. He's putting like links and photographs and stuff. So if we do an episode like the Lubbock Lights, he'll do, I guess it's mostly just like our logo, but when we talk about something that will require a visual, like the pictures for the Lubbock Lights, he's putting those on the episode so that you can actually see what we're talking about. And I do want to do more YouTube stuff, and I want to do like a video version of the podcast. So that's going to be coming up when I can get around to it. I have to figure out how to get, I want to do maybe like Twitch and YouTube live. Maybe there's a way I can do both of those simultaneously or one or the other. I don't know. I have to look into it. A little bit of legwork to figure that out, but coming, I wouldn't say shortly, but at some point in the future, we will hopefully be doing like live video versions of the podcast for that. I don't know when that's going to happen. Hopefully soon. I don't know for sure, but I appreciate you helping us out with that, Diamond. It's really awesome that we have some YouTube content going. So
Thank you.
yeah, if you guys want to check that out, it's on YouTube. Oh yeah, look, Ether's posting pictures of our cryptids. They're the best. They're awesome.
Oh yeah.
When they're not being little turds, they're awesome. What's up, Agent Redacted?
do you still want me to animate some of like the moments to put them on YouTube and stuff?
Yeah, if you want to animate some stuff for YouTube, that'd be cool.
Rad.
Yeah, Agent Redacted is he's really good at animating stuff. Self-taught. At a very young age. How old were you when you started using what was the first one you used?
Pivot animator.
Yeah, how old were you?
7?
Yeah, he's like 7 years old. And
Wow.
he wanted to learn how to, it's like a stick figure animation program. And I don't know how to do that stuff. So he read, as a 7-year-old, he read the manual and figured it out and started animating stuff.
It was a really good program, except for the fact it's filled with viruses and tries to get me to install random crap.
Yeah, the program itself is really good, but they added a bunch of bloatware and stuff to it. So it's not really usable anymore, unfortunately, because it's a really good program. It's simple, easy to use as these things go,
Yeah, now I use OpenTunes. That's a really good open source software. It's like Blender, just amazing.
Okay.
No viruses or anything.
Yeah. Hey, do you have one of your animations from Pivot that you can post in the chat? We put a couple things on YouTube, didn't we?
Yeah.
All right. Well, so you get an idea of the kind of stuff he was doing.
Look up our old YouTube channel.
I did some sound for one or two of them. Oh, look at that. That's a cute picture right there.
People kept copying our old YouTube channel name, and I'm not even kidding.
I know. I came up with that YouTube channel name all by myself, and people I'm good at coming up with names, I guess, because people keep copying them. My favorite claim to fame is well, I have two gamer tags that I came up with.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. Believe it or not, I have seen people imitating this. And the first one was Crazy Foot, because we had this remote control car that somebody got I think their uncle got for the kids.
I missed that RC car.
And it was this little RC car, and it would flip over so it could drive upside down or right side up.
Foot.
And one side was green, one side was blue, and it would say stuff when it was driving around. So it would flip over and it would say something. And one of the things it
Do
said
a barrel
was,
roll.
no, it said, "This is crazy fun," right? So this is crazy fun, but it sounded like Crazy Foot. So I would always say, "Oh, that's Crazy Foot." So that's, so that was one of the gamer tags I used, and I'd never seen that before. But after I started using that, I saw all kinds of people mimicking it, because why not? Crazy Foot, I guess, has a nice ring to it. But the other one is less commonly used, but hey, how often is it that you can come up with a completely unique gamer tag? Not that easy to do.
It's really easy.
I've done it twice. Once with Crazy Foot. The second time with my favorite and current gamer tag that I use is Butt Knuckle.
Now, our youngest shares that username with
God.
his friends. Like if they're
I know.
online together.
I should kick them off the Steam account.
So it's hilarious because I tell my kids to use their own accounts on our
We
consoles or
don't.
whatever. But I've actually had to tell parents before. I'm like, he's using my. All right. They're like, what's your account name? I'm like, Bud Knuckle.
Yeah, like reminds me. I think was my Steam account originally yours?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I guess it's mine now since I bought like 90% of the stuff on it.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, that one is I've regretted it once or twice, but overall it's a unique name, I guess. Less
Feels special.
There's no doubt about that.
yeah, less often imitated. Crazy Foot you can find a lot of Crazy Foots out there, but not as many Butt Knuckles. People are not as willing to be Butt Knuckles. Another one that I've used in the past, I've used Satan's Sphincter. That's one that one never really caught on, unfortunately. But
And it kind of funny how like both of us like our gaming tags are generally based in like poop humor.
I know, right?
Like my
Oh,
my
God.
gamer tag is poos in the dark.
Yeah.
It's so mysterious.
Hey.
I can't help but thinking when I hear you guys talk, like, how old are you? I mean, good grief.
Mentally not
Yeah.
very old at all.
There's
Mentally, they never
physical-
passed
yeah,
high school.
Physical and mental. You know what I mean? So, yeah, exactly.
Sinners.
Lucifer has the higher kill count, says, Zenith Void said, Lucifer versus Mothman statue, who would win?
Did somebody just
Ah,
who the hell's
I mean-
Lucifer? Did
that was from the Denver airport. So
Did they misspell Lucifer or something?
Oh,
No.
yeah.
No.
Were they typing on the keyboard
So,
like shit?
I don't think Agent Redacted is aware of this, but at the
I'm not.
at the Denver airport, they put, I don't know if it's still there, but they put this big statue as you drive up. There's this like basically this horse from hell with like these glowing red eyes, and it's anatomically there. So it has a big old hanging schlong and a butthole and everything, and it looks friggin' evil. And it's like you're driving up to the airport. Do you want to see like an evil horse from hell as you're about to risk your life on an airplane? Is that what you want to see? It's terrifying. It's the worst thing ever. I don't want to see that when I'm going to the
Does
airport.
it have,
Okay, how
does it
far
have
are we
red
from Denver?
eyes?
It has red eyes.
That
Okay,
is so funny.
How
Yes.
far are we
Yeah.
from Denver Airport?
We're pretty far from Denver.
Damn it.
They glow in the dark.
That's
That
what I
is
said.
amazing.
Yes, they do.
They glow in the
Yep.
dark. It's crazy. I wasn't making that
Oh,
up.
it reminds me.
Yeah.
I found a picture.
Yeah,
Daddy
and
put a
it's-
picture.
Yeah,
Jesus
it's on its hind legs.
Christ.
Its cock and balls are hanging right out there.
Yeah, it's
It's
like
like-
a horse of the apocalypse.
It's a work
Dude,
of art.
You're driving by,
Somebody took time to sculpt that.
let's say you're driving
Someone
by in
got
your
Oh,
car.
yes.
paid to sculpt that.
Let's say you're driving by in your car, and let's say you have daughters, not sons, and your daughter goes, "Daddy, what is that?" Be like, "Was what?" Underneath the horse. You're like, "Don't worry about that. You'll find out when you're older." You don't like.
I don't want to talk about
Yeah,
it.
that's a big giant penis. Like why?
How,
Why?
How big is
Why?
this statue?
It's pretty big.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I want to say like 30 feet tall, maybe.
Okay.
I
Alright.
forget the exact dimensions. It's pretty big though. But yeah, there you go.
Reminds me.
Diamond just posted a picture. Dude,
That's terrifying.
right?
Mhm.
If you're making a statue, does it have to have a penis and a butthole? Can you just make the
Mine-
statue?
Remember in Red
Do you
Dead
have to really
Redemption
be that
how the
accurate?
horses were a bit too atomically correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Jesus.
yeah. Yeah. They went into depth in that game. you
Yeah.
know, as far as like when it was cold or when it was hot.
That was
there
a
was a
fun
difference.
game. I never spent any of the time doing like the missions or anything. I remember like jumping my horse off a cliff. I had the shitty starter horse that was
Yeah.
dying because it was fun.
That Red Dead 2 is
That horse was abused, man.
Red Dead 2 is an absolute masterpiece. The only reason why I didn't play more of it is because, man, my thumb can only take so much. My thumb is still tired from playing that
Yeah.
game.
You know,
Like,
motors are pretty cheap. I could build you something to just smash the A button.
or they could just make it to where you can just hold down the button instead of having to mash it
That's
for
less
the
realistic
whole time. Ugh,
for some reason.
my hand is still sore from that game. I don't know. Maybe there's some secret about, how going fast on your horse without having to hold down the button.
What do you mean? You don't want carpal tunnel?
I know, right?
Sounds like fun.
Seriously. And you're going to break your controller doing that nonsense.
Yeah. A good
Has
time.
it occurred to you maybe that's why the PlayStation controllers were always so wonky?
Yeah.
Oh, from all that button pushing.
Just
Yeah.
Button
Well,
smashing.
the stick drift too.
Yeah. That's, I don't think
horrible at some
mashing
points.
a button's going to cause stick drift. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I know, but
you
it always happened though.
did mash it a lot, to be fair. Have you guys seen the Graham car crash guy?
No.
So it's a dude designed to withstand car crashes and being hit by cars and stuff. I'll send a picture in chat. But he looks like looks all screwed up and stuff, like huge rib cage, huge. He doesn't have a neck. He just has more rib cages. It's a really freaky sculpture.
It's kind of
Oh,
creepy.
okay.
Like a crash dummy.
Oh, it's a sculpture.
Oh, there we go. Oh,
Okay.
nice.
It's
all right.
it's amazing.
Oh my gosh. That is creepy and strange.
Yeah,
Are those like extra nipples? What is that?
yeah. The extra nipples because it's like extra fat.
Okay.
And if you want more nightmare fuel, just look up the artist who did this. I love their stuff. It's like Junjito Ito.
That
Oh
is,
yeah, I've seen that before.
That is super creepy.
Ew, dude.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen that.
That's
I
weird.
think I've seen that woman based on what they believed people would look like in the future due to excessive phone use. It's hilarious, like claw hands and like just tilted over their back. It's freaking hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's technology is advancing quickly, and we are not physiologically we're not advancing quickly. So who knows what's going to happen?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. His legs look normal and stuff. Like from the waist down, it looks like a normal human being. But then when you get up, the arms, I guess, are pretty normal.
Looks like
But
an
yeah, like,
alien.
Yeah. You're like, what
yeah,
the
yeah,
hell?
Well, like Diamond,
Yeah, I
like
remember
Diamond
somebody
just said,
posted like a
it definitely.
Doctor Who monster that looked the same.
Oh,
Yeah, whatever it is, it definitely evolved wrong. That's
yeah.
for sure. I agree with you, Diamond.
Yeah. There's something ain't right there. That's for dang sure.
Yep.
Yup. All right.
Yes.
Any previous cases or anything else, any random topics, whatever that we want to talk about?
I don't know. I'm kind of feel like
I don't
it's
know.
winding down.
Remember that?
Is it winding down? Is the momentum slowing?
Yeah, I'm feeling it.
We're at about an hour 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to go for 10 hours.
I start
10
to
hours
crash
straight.
after
Let's do
about
it.
an hour.
I could do it for
Yeah.
another 3 hours.
Well, there are podcasts that go for like five, like really long time,
God,
like 5
remember
or 6
the UFC
hours.
one? We're driving down Six Flags. Freaking UFC guy.
Yeah, Ariel Helwani. He calls it like the MMA hour, but it's
didn't-
actually
he
like
didn't-
5 hours.
He did talk about MMA for like 90%
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah, it's
Just
funny.
random
That
shit.
dude can talk.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of his show is actually not about MMA. Sometimes it depends on the episode, but with his show though, it'll be like 5 hours long. But I don't typically listen to the whole show. I might listen to only an hour that he has a guest that I'm interested in listening to. But that's
Yeah.
a long show, man. That's a real commitment. You know,
It reminds me of Bill
Oh,
Burr's
yeah.
podcast. They're special.
you're too young to listen to Bill Burr. Who the hell's letting you listen to Bill Burr?
You.
Oh yeah, that is me. Yeah, for sure. But by the way, so I was listening to one of his shows recently, and it was hilarious. Like he was coming up with these wacky conspiracies. Like he said, his idea, he was joking, of course, because he's a comedian, but he said that, okay, so the hurricanes are actually caused, Home Depot is somehow behind them because, obviously the place
Always
gets
open.
the place gets wrecked, but he's like, yeah, how come the hurricane wrecks everything, but Home Depot's open the next day or whatever? It was funny when he said it. I'm not doing it justice.
Oh, reminds me, I remember there's like a disaster meter for Waffle House. You can judge the severity of an apocalypse by, is Waffle House open? Is Waffle House operating with emergency rations? Or is Waffle House
I've never
closed?
heard of this.
When
Okay.
Waffle House is closed, you get the hell out of that area. You are not safe there.
So I guess the Waffle House does not like to close. I think Waffle House is more of an East Coast thing, right?
Waffle
Yeah, I got
House
all excited. I went
disaster.
to one. I was like, oh, they're going to have the best waffles ever because they're called the Waffle House.
Okay, here's the Wikipedia
Nope.
page. It's the
And
Waffle
no.
House Index.
No, and it just was not a good experience.
It wasn't bad. It was just,
Generic.
waffles.
Ugh.
It wasn't horrible. It was cheap.
horrible.
It was cheap and it was edible.
I disagree.
Is that one of those restaurants? It's kind of like a Golden Corral, or it's like a buffet, like an open buffet.
No, it's not a buffet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's no.
So it's more like Denny's or something.
Yeah, kind of like a Denny's, I guess.
I think they serve
Okay.
waffles.
Yeah, they definitely serve waffles
Yeah.
and other breakfast foods.
God, when they serve pancakes, they've gone too far, strayed too far from God.
Yeah. This podcast has gone too far if we're spending this much time on the Waffle House. Holy crap.
We should do an episode on it. There's an actual index. Let's do not
But-
just talk about the Waffle House.
It's not hard to make some mean ass waffles, dude. Like when I make waffles, I have a waffle maker at my house, and I'll put some bacon in there and stuff, and like that bacon makes everything better, in my opinion.
So Tyrannosquatch says, I'm in Ohio. Waffle House isn't about the food. It's about the experience. You don't go to Waffle House unless it's after 1 a.m. That's when the show begins.
I heard that.
Oh, really?
Yes, I've seen videos like
Let
on
me
YouTube
check.
of like people getting in fights and stuff at Waffle House,
Uh-huh.
and like all sorts of shenanigans and stuff like that. Yeah,
Sounds like Walmart.
I
Like an
forgot
East
that.
Coast Walmart sort of a situation going on there.
Waffle House is the Walmart of breakfast restaurants. Waffle House is a lawless land, says Zenith Void.
Reminds me like speaking of large department stores, I wanna go in IKEA and just hide there. Like
Yeah.
zombie apocalypse, I'm going to IKEA.
Nobody will find me.
They have food, they have
I've se-
furniture, they have fake books.
Oh, they do have
Or
food, don't they?
What more do you need in a zombie apocalypse?
You could teach yourself Swedish by reading all the book titles and gibberish.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
The
that's
instructions for
gibberish.
putting together furniture?
I don't think that's real Swedish.
It's Swedish gibberish.
Yeah.
Those are all made up words apparently.
That's hilarious.
Because like I've been to IKEA before and be like, oh, is that okay? Well, I'll remember that in case I ever meet somebody from Sweden. But no, they're all fake words, I guess, which is kind of funny if you think about it. How many people have done that? Not that many, but probably somebody has done that. Right?
Every time I ever hear like the word Swedish, I remember like the Swedish chef from
Sesame
What is-
Street? Muppets?
the Muppets. Yeah, I think it was the Muppets, right? Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I feel like that's probably culturally insensitive these days.
Oh, gosh, it really is.
Probably. Yeah.
Weezer,
Probably, but I feel also like the Swedish like people they're not that sensitive. They're probably okay
Yeah.
with it,
Probably
I guess.
cool.
Maybe
They're cool.
I'm just making an assumption here.
Yeah.
Weezer has a YouTube video, one of their songs, and it's with the Muppets. And I saw it the other day for the first time, and it made me all nostalgic.
Yeah. The Muppets it's actually a really good show. There's not that many kids shows that I would still watch today. That's one of them. The Muppets is actually pretty good.
I feel
Hey.
SpongeBob is also
Another
one. of them.
one? If you haven't seen The Muppets Take Manhattan, you're missing out. Go check that shit out. It's a good movie. What were you going to say, ETA?
Fraggle Rock.
Oh, yeah. Fraggle Rock's good too.
Yeah, dude. That was one of my favorites when I was a kid. And I will still go back. I've actually, like, from time to time, I'll go back and watch a little bit of Fraggle Rock, even though it's just nostalgic for me at this point. Like, it's not like I'm going there to, really have a good time, I guess, but like, it's one of those things where that was like, I love that show so much when I was a kid. Every once in a while, I got to go back and experience it,
You got to sing us the theme song now.
No, don't do that.
Yeah.
Oh,
we'll
you're
get
not allowed to
copyright
do that,
matched.
huh?
We're not allowed. Yeah, that's copyright. We're not allowed to.
Don't sing Happy Birthday either.
No, I'm pretty sure Happy Birthday is public domain.
Oh, well, it used to not be.
No, it used to not be, but that was totally we won't that might actually be a good episode, the Happy Birthday thing, but the people who claimed that copyright and made a butt ton of money on it didn't actually own the copyright. They just sort of made up that they did. That'd be a good conspiracy. But yeah, that should have been public domain all along. Somebody said it wasn't.
Fraggle Rock.
They made $1 gazillion on it, so good for them for, I guess, cheating the system. I don't know. But yeah, so I guess it's winding down. There's like so many cases we've done that we haven't even had a chance to talk about. Like, for example, the 1976 Tehran UFO incident, which is, that's like a really, really good case. Or, some of the UFO crashes like Kecksburg, we talked about, Shag Harbor or whatever. We mentioned, like, we haven't done that many abduction cases, but we did like the Betty and Barney Hill. We did the Travis Walton.
That was a fun one.
Yeah. We've done so much stuff.
Well, and we've also done stuff like the what is it called? The Voynich manuscript?
Yeah, the Voynich manuscript. Yeah, that was a good one.
It's a fun episode.
Yeah. That one was a good one. It was like, there's really too much to talk about, even just to go through and mention. We can't even mention all this stuff in just one episode. But I mean, we've done a lot of really, really interesting stuff. And
Harp.
Yeah, Harp was a good one. And like, just like I was saying on the about the Dyatlov Pass, some of these cases you can't really even do them justice in an hour, although we do our best. But I feel like we could go back and do a second episode for a lot of these topics, particularly topics where we didn't have, all of the agents on them. We could definitely do like a second take on some of these topics.
You could just start from the beginning and cycle back through.
Yeah, right. I'm sure people would love to hear that.
Or like MK Ultra.
Yeah. I don't want to do it. That one was depressing, man.
Well,
MK Ultra. That was like,
I guess.
really, that one really bummed me out, dude, because it's like, dude, we're paying for that, man. We're supporting that stuff. And they said, we're not doing that anymore. Pfft, yeah, right. They're probably still doing something similar, For every time you find out about something like that, how much stuff are you not finding out about,
And there's so much material that we could, just passively glance upon in a 45-minute to an hour and a half long episode, just in like megalithic structures. Like, we've talked about like the pyramids and stuff, and Göbekli Tepe, and as a matter of fact, in Turkey, there's been other, like, quote unquote Göbekli Tepe type sites that have been found and researched since we have talked about it. And there's more and more discoveries being made in that area as far as like ancient, like megalithic structures that have been uncovered. There's a lot of really freaking interesting, cool shit that's going on there. I mean, there's some serious archaeology happening right now that really could flip, the whole story of like, the human civilization and how advanced we were, how far back we were advanced. You know what I mean? Like, there's some cool shit going on right now, man. In archaeology, some really cool shit, in my opinion. Like, I don't know. I find that extremely interesting. Like, yeah. I mean, before, without getting into it, like I said, cool as shit, dude. Like, so damn awesome. Some of the stuff that's being researched right now,
Yeah. Bronco Zach mentioned the Aquatine Spirit Journey formation anniversary. And so, dude, Aquatine Hunger Force, I love that show.
Oh, yeah.
That show is so good.
Oh, hilarious.
Dude,
my favorite characters.
Saw the movie.
Yeah.
It was a movie.
Is that just fast food South Park?
No, kind of, not really.
Oh.
Very different from South Park.
Very different.
Yeah, I love Carl, their next door neighbor. That dude's awesome. And also the Moonanites.
The Moonanites are the best.
Hilarious.
Yes. Come, let's sodomize our vast imaginations. That show is just so good. It's so good. I love that show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Meatball might be my favorite character. I don't know, but there's so many. It's hilarious. That show is just hilarious, ridiculous, and that's what I love about it. It's so freaking ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. I'm doing it as hard as I can. Yeah, yeah. Space Kataz.
Agent Anderson,
what's up?
What watch are you wearing?
I'm wearing an awesome watch. But yeah, so I guess we're about an hour 30, give or take. So I guess that's pretty good for this time. We'll wrap it up. But to finish it up, I just want to say thanks for everybody so much for listening. It's without people listening, we probably wouldn't be doing the show still, and we really appreciate you guys. And we'll hey, as long as you guys keep listening, we'll keep doing it. It's pretty much as simple as that. Because I mean, I read about this stuff, all the time, in my free time. but I don't necessarily do a show about it. But if people want to hear about it, then we'll keep doing it. But yeah, I mean, like I used to be sort of a skeptic. Like I used to read skeptical explanation for things. But when I really started reading some of like the source material, like witness statements and stuff like that, I started seeing these discrepancies between what the skeptics were saying and what the witnesses were saying. I was like, well, hold on. The skeptics didn't mention that, or they didn't take this into consideration. They're leaving pieces out. This is not the whole story. So then I became more interested and I started going down all these rabbit holes and be like, well, there's a lot more here than meets the eye. What that is, I don't know, but that's kind of what started this show out, is just sort of me wanting to look into things in more depth and listening to other podcasts that, while a lot of them are very entertaining, not all of them go into that much depth. They don't really use source material. They use secondary material or whatever. I don't always do that myself, but as much as possible, I like to go to like original witness statements and original documents and source material as much as I can to kind of find, is there any evidence behind any of this stuff? And that's sort of what started me making this show. And it's sort of changed over the years, it's changed over time, but that's still sort of the core of it is, what can we find? Is there anything real here, or is it just a fun story? And if it's a fun story, we might still talk about it, but we're not going to pretend like it's real. At least I'm not. We'll say, this is a cool story, but we couldn't find anything real. And I think a lot of shows, I'm not gonna name any shows that might have hosts with crazy hair, but I think they sensationalize stuff on purpose because it's good for ratings. People like sensational stuff, but I don't know. That's just not the kind of show I want to do. So the kind of show I want to do is this show. And we really appreciate everybody listening. And that's where we're at for episode 150. And here's to cheers to 150 more episodes. Hopefully we make it that far. Any other final thoughts, agents?
Good to go.
Good to go. Agent Redacted.
God, I've been trying not to cough this whole episode.
Yeah, Agent Redacted.
That's why my voice has been sounding like.
Yeah, Agent Redacted is sick, so he's being a real trooper and not coughing into the mic.
Explode.
Because he knows if he coughs into that mic, I'm going to give him the evil eye. I'm going to give him the stink eye.
I'm going to be locked in the roof for 14 days again.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah, you go to the attic, all right?
You cough into the mic and under my roof, you're going above my roof. That's.
If I cough into the mic, the clear coat might get scratched.
That's true.
Man, there's so much stuff going around though. When I went to the urgent care the other day, the doctor said there's just the waiting room's always filled with people bringing their kids in for like the upper respiratory infections, and they're just like colds and sniffles. But because it gets so sensationalized in the news, they're calling it the triple-demic.
Triple-demic.
Oh,
it's
no.
the nano machines.
COVID, flu, and upper respiratory infections.
I can tell you right now, like my last work week, like there has been a bug going around where like there's been people getting sick as shit, and it's like a good solid cold. It's nothing crazy, but it's not COVID or nothing, but like they're getting good and sick, and my last week was a 4-day work week, right? 3 of those days I worked 16-hour shifts because we were so short staffed, because like multiple people called in sick on each shift, and then you have to hold over. It is what it is, like you have no choice. You have to hold over, you have to have enough staffing level there to make the situation safe, so yeah, that sucked. But I also worked overtime and made more money, so I'm okay with that. All right, I'll make more money.
More money.
Yeah,
I'll put that shit in the bank, baby.
My high school has at least 1,000 students, but like for a while, like a good 25% of them have been out of school because all the flus and stuff. And because I think this is a lot of people's exposure to just being in a large group of people every day. For the periods and stuff.
Yeah, whenever you have that many people like in the same spot, like a school or anything, you're always going to have all sorts of different, viruses and bacteria or what have you that are going to be transmitted. Like it's unavoidable, it is what it is. We have that many people in a close
I've missed like 12 days of school because I got COVID Then I got sick.
Him
Then I
and
got
his
sick
brother.
again.
Oh my God, they had got COVID so bad, and I think it really hurt their immune systems because Redacted has been sick multiple times since he caught COVID.
It hasn't been that bad sick. It's more been like sick, like, you're just tired.
Well, I wonder if because they didn't go to school for a whole year, and then when they went back to school, now there's all kinds of bugs that they haven't built up immunities to.
It wasn't just not
Yeah,
going to school, it's not going outside for a year, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, and that's also like one of the arguments, like, I've seen, biologists make or what have you, that like washing your hands more and more will actually weaken your immune system. Like you actually don't want to be that clean because then your immune system won't be that strong. Like you have to have some exposure to some of this stuff, like in order to create a strong immune system, right?
Yeah. Or so they say, but I don't like being sick. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that much.
I remember after I got COVID, I was still at quarantine because I got what they called my mouth.
Yeah, like ulcers. Like
It was pretty painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
And I was trying to do my homework,
yeah.
and I was reading the question. It was like, when the electromagnetic wave, when the wave signs, when the wave, like I couldn't read it.
No.
My brain was foggy.
Yeah, dude, that COVID brain fog is real. That's
I couldn't do my schoolwork.
I got the nasty vid myself, and I don't know, dude. I don't know.
I was the only one who didn't get it. It was really weird.
like your
I'm pretty
brain's
sure you
running
had it. You
through.
just
That's
didn't
kinda
test
crazy.
positive.
I had no
Yeah,
symptoms.
You did too have
probably-
symptoms.
I was
Get out.
tired.
Get
I'm
out.
always
you were
tired.
probably the same. Like when I got COVID, I tested positive for it. Like, and I was sick, but I wasn't like that sick. It just felt like a regular cold to me, really. Yeah, it was. I know I tested positive because I took a specific test to test for COVID. But after I knew I had it, I was like, all right, well, let's see what happens, right? But you heard all these like different stories, and I know everybody like responded to that differently, But for me, at least, it was very minor. It was. I've been way sicker with like the flu and stuff like that, like catching the flu or what have you, that where it really hits you hard. When I caught COVID, it wasn't that, like, to me at least, it wasn't that bad. I know other people had it really bad and it really affected them, and like that sucks. But like, I mean, at least when I had it really wasn't a big deal at all. I just felt a little sick, and I'm grateful for that, to be honest. But
I think it's all those variants. That's why everybody catches a different
Yeah.
variant.
probably, yeah.
And there's so many different factors. Like I read there's like an ulcer medication that seems to help fight COVID, or nicotine apparently does. So it's sort of this thing where
It's the nanobots.
I don't know, like there's so many different factors. I don't think we understand all of the possible, things that can affect it yet at this point.
Well, there was a lot of misinformation too going around,
Yeah.
at the peak of the pandemic or whatever, so
Yeah. Who knows?
yeah.
There's
Well.
nano machines in the air, dude.
I thought they were in the vaccine.
They're everywhere.
Hopefully it goes the way of the Spanish flu and sort of evolves its way into being less redacted.
It's freaking peace sign, dude.
Get that out of there. I'm trying to take a picture of one of our cryptids. And get your hand out of there.
Pet him.
You're messing up my focus.
Your phone focus shouldn't be messed up by me petting the dog.
There we go. Okay, he was throwing like peace signs and stuff in front of the cryptid, and one of our cryptids was being very cute, so I was gonna just post it on Discord
They're
real
always
quick.
cute.
But Agent Redacted was thwarting my attempts. There we go.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Agent Anderson. Remember our NFTs sold?
Oh yeah. We made a couple of NFTs and they sold.
We've made $2.
Yeah, $2.
Really?
$2.
We're rich.
I know.
What the hell exactly is an NFT? I don't get it.
It's
I
like
just don't get it.
money laundering.
Okay, so NFT stands
Basically.
for non-fungible token. Fungible means that you can exchange one for the other. So let's say you have $2 bills or $100 bills. They're all essentially the same thing. That means they're fungible. Now, if you had a system to where $1 bill was not equivalent to another, so for whatever reason, you'd have, well, let's say you get a dollar bill.
Okay, I'm already confused.
Basically, all you need to know is don't invest any money in it.
Yeah, don't buy NFTs. We'll just leave it at that. This is probably a rabbit hole we don't want to go down at this particular point in time. But you can buy NFTs that are basically artworks, and we made some as a joint effort, and we made them specifically to be sort of ridiculous and bad, and we put what 3?
Yeah, 3.
Yeah, we put 3 of them for sale on OpenSea or whatever, and they actually sold. So there you go.
To be fair, we did make $1 total.
Yeah, made about $1 of Ethereum.
Nice.
Yeah, we should do a cryptocurrency for our show. You know?
Oh God.
Like hand it out to loyal listeners. It would be totally worthless, but it would still be fun.
Yeah, shout out to BFAD12 who bought our NFTs.
Is that who bought them?
Yeah, I don't know who they are.
Okay, sweet. Well, chances are they don't listen to our show.
Yeah.
But if you do, thanks for the $2.
I think it's like $1.25 actually.
Oh, okay. Well, either way, man, that'll buy something.
You can buy can't even buy soda with that actually.
Damn inflation. Can't buy nothing anymore.
Here, I'll post a picture of one of the NFTs in chat. It's like,
oh, they're so good.
Top-notch stuff.
You can't do that. It doesn't belong to you anymore.
Well, you can still post a picture of it.
No, it's like I'm gonna sue you, bro.
All right, it's the 10 o'clock hour, guys. I gotta go to bed.
All right.
Only wimps go to bed.
I gotta get up. You guys don't gotta get up.
Don't go to sleep ever.
Agent Ether's got to tap out, so that means we can stop the show here. So,
all right, I'm gonna go blow my nose.
And Agent Redacted is gonna go blow his nose.
Sick.
All right, so I guess we'll just cut it off here. So, would you give us a keep it strange, Agent Ether?
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
Keep it strange.
All right, thank you.